Hi everybody, I hope you're doing well. My name's Ray. I've been gardening for about 5 years. I've been growing plants my whole life, but only really focused on gardening 5 years ago. I adopted some kittens a few months back. There are 3 of them, but the oldest one is very shy, a half Siamese cat, so he doesn't go out. He doesn't want to. The black and white one is Sora, and this one is Furin. They love going outside. They're gonna run around for hours. Anyway, I'm building a greenhouse here. It's probably gonna take a few more weeks to build because I'm not very good at building stuff. And I'm gonna put my citrus in there because I live in France, northeastern France, in zone 7B. In 2012, we got down to minus 18 Celsius. And last few years, it hasn't really been that cold. We've had a mild winter this year. Got down to minus 8 Celsius, which is 17 degrees Fahrenheit. Anyway, yeah, that's why my accent sounds a bit weird. And I mix up American English with other English variants. I learned everything on the internet. That's why. Anyway, so I started gardening 5 years ago, planting pretty much anything that I thought was interesting and I thought could grow here. Mostly, I want to grow subtropical stuff like citrus. That's my main focus. But citrus don't exactly do well in zone 7, so it's a bit of an experiment. Let's start here. We have some pineapple guavas, feijoas. I have 4 varieties. These are 4 years old, not growing very fast, but they had to be moved to install this fence, which was, I believe, 2 years ago now. The only one to have bloomed is this one because it wasn't moved, and they got down to minus 13 Celsius, which is 8 Fahrenheit, never damaged. They seem to do okay in 7B, but I think I'm close to their limits. They're more of a zone 8 plant. I have some manzanillas, so this one has some leaves down there, but it lost most of the upper leaves. And this one, a few leaves are dried up, but most are green still. They're an evergreen hawthorn from Central America, like Mexico, Guatemala, Costa Rica, and surprisingly, they survive in zone 7. Apple-like fruit, a bit of a guava taste apparently. I have never tried them. Very impressive plants. I have some passion fruits, but you can't see them right now. Maybe they'll come up in the spring or early summer. They grew very, very well last year. They went into my neighbor's yard. But yeah, I don't know if the roots are alive. Over there, we have some plants I called harugumi, which means spring gumi, because they're in the gumi family. The more common name is silverberry. It's an evergreen, first fruit we have in spring, but this year they haven't bloomed. This is a gufla vine. I have a second one here, and a third one that's buried deep in there. It's gonna climb over eventually. And they make a sausage-shaped fruit that's kind of pink, purple, and sweet, but not much flavor. Should be useful for cooking, but that's more of an experiment. Anyway, they're evergreen and they make nice flowers, so it could be interesting just for that. This is a bay laurel. It's been a mild winter. It doesn't have that much damage. You can see a few leaves are a bit brown, but overall, it's pretty good. Usually, it is a lot more burnt up. There's not much that's still subtropical humid in Mediterranean. It's mostly, well, Mediterranean, which is a summer dry subtropical climate. But these are remnants that have adapted to these drier conditions. And this is an azoroli, a red-fruited one. I have another one here. This one is called Spineless Blanco, supposed to be yellow-fruited. And this is a Giraki, which is also yellow-fruited. I haven't seen any thorns on it. This is also from the Mediterranean and North Africa and Western Asia. Fruits are apple-like. In my climate, I think they're going to be a bit sweet and sour. In warmer climates, they're sweet. And in colder climates, they're just sour. So like if you're in England and you try to grow that, I don't think there's going to be much sweetness to them. Here's a grape. I think that's the Isabel grape or Noah. I have another one here. Those are hybrids of European and American grapes, and they are supposed to have a bit of a raspberry flavor. This is a blue hawthorn, supposed to taste like strawberry and be very, very good. And these are natively found around Greece, Turkey, Bulgaria, these areas in the Eastern Mediterranean. That's an aronia bush. It made some fruits, and it's okay. I prefer the fruits cooked, like in a jam or something. Very, very good in a jam. This is a native to North America, very cold tolerant. I have another grape. This is Autumn Royale, which is a late ripening grape. The latest grape we can have, because we have 6 months of temperatures below freezing. So we can have stuff that takes too long to grow. And here's a Centennial seedless grape. It's more of an early ripening grape. And this is Another hawthorn is the Chinese hawthorn, which is used to make candy in China. It should be also kind of like a small apple. My sister's dog chewed it up, so it had to regrow from just above the graft. And I have a solar baronia, which is a hybrid of aronia and ash. We'll see how it goes. Oh, by the way, aronia, I think in North America they call them like chokeberry, and this is an amélanchier species. I don't know which one. I have 3 plants, but just 2 here. They're kind of like a blueberry on a tree, but there's a bit of an apple taste with a blueberry taste. It's very nice and early ripening. They're called serviceberry in North America. Over there, this is a sea buckthorn. Very, very vigorous. Native to northwestern Europe. You find it on the coasts, and they make jams out of them. They're very sour. It's more of a late harvesting plant. Like, you harvest the fruits before winter. They can store for the entire winter. I think my cats want to go in the back of the yard, which I'm gonna show just a bit later. Here they go. They're just 7 months old now. This one, I don't know what it's called in English. A corm tree, maybe? It makes apple-like fruits. You harvest them and you store them till they get soft. And it's supposed to be quite decent. I don't know, it's an experiment for me. On a palm tree, because my mother wanted tropical stuff. And my sister dog just laid a gift on it. I guess that's free nutrients. Here's a lang jujube, just to help with pollination. I have another jujube. It doesn't produce anything. Jujubes also don't like it here. We don't have enough heat for them to grow well, but they stay alive. And a chestnut tree. To maximize pollination, I will add another variety to it. And I have a friend who has an old tree his grandfather planted 50 years ago. Very good chestnuts. Then on the other side, we have a sour cherry tree. I just planted this a few months ago. I didn't protect it yet, as my sister's dog is gonna eat it. Here's why I prefer cats rather than dogs. It's a variety that's called the Griotte de la Toussaint. See, I'm French. It's supposed to be slightly sour, but it's interesting because once the tree is established, it has a weeping habit, so it doesn't get too tall, and the new branches actually flower. So you get fruit basically all summer and in autumn as well, which is quite cool. You can extend your cherry season quite a lot. This is a tun tree. It's native to southern China, Indochina, and I think it's also present in parts of Indonesia, like in Borneo. Finally, we have the other jujube, and this plant is 4 years old. It did bloom, but no fruit. So I'm wondering if I add another jujube, maybe that will help. Che tree, Codwania, that's native to China. In the mulberry family, are supposed to taste like watermelon. I have added a darrow to it. It got some dieback for some reason. Those are self-fruitful female trees. I have never had fruits on it. It blooms every year, but never any fruit. And this is a Shipova pear. It's actually a cross of ash and pear. And this particular species is supposed to have appeared quite close to where I live, like a few hours drive. It's from my region. And the fruits are supposed to taste kind of like guava as well as pear. Over here, we have a Chinese quince. I don't know how the fruits are. I think this year it's gonna bloom for the first time. I don't know if they're self-pollinating, but I'm hoping so. If it's like a Japanese quince, which is lemony and hard, I'm probably gonna pull it out in a few years. Here's a Japanese quince covered in flower buds. This is a cutting, it's 2 years old. I don't know if it's self-fruitful. The original plant made tiny fruits, and I did cook with them, and they were okay, but there's better fruit for that. Here's a Tsuli pear, a Chinese white pear, Bai Li, as they call them. A hybrid of 4 species of pears, I think, from the northern half of China. Not like the regular Asian pear that is more subtropical in origin. This one is definitely temperate. This is a kiwi berry. It did fruit last year. It makes small kiwis that are sweet and the size of a grape. You can eat them whole. They don't have any fuzz. Pretty good. And a Tamcam persimmon. This is my 3rd plant of early ripening persimmon. Hopefully this one will finally survive and I'm going to be able to get some early persimmons in a few years. Here's another Bai Li pear, the Yali. So the Bai Li pears, I have Tsuli and Yali. They're late ripening, so they're good for winter storage. And the Kokua kiwi berry, again, I got some fruit from it. This spot is quite sandy. It struggles with lack of water in summer. Jiro, mid-season persimmon, large size. It's gonna be nice because this one should ripen properly here. Usually the regular Fuyu persimmon, they stay green and we have to ripen them on the counter. Svekranaya pomegranate, a Russian variety. It did die back a bit last year because it's a very small plant. Or this one is Furconalia. I don't know. Anyway, one of them is Kandahar from Afghanistan, which is a mid-season pomegranate, and one of them is super early pomegranate from Russia. Carmen Jewel sour cherry. It tastes more like a sweet cherry, and it stays small. That one has been a bit beaten up by my sister's dog, just pulling it out and chewing its branches. I hate dogs. This is an American pawpaw, not papaya. This is a North American plant in the Annona family. Among their family, they're the most cold-tolerant species, and they can grow in temperate areas, but they definitely prefer the heat of the subtropics. So this one's Susquiana. This is Potomac, which lost branches due to the dog. And this one too lost branches. And it's Kentucky Champion, which is a very early ripening one. These two are late ripening. I don't even know if they're gonna ripen here. Summer Delight, which is another early one, and Tropical Treat, mid-early. Mango, rather mid-late, with a very orange fruit. Sunflower, this one has been beaten up and pulled out by the dog, but it survived. I had to replace the mango. And this one is Prima 1216, which is an Italian variety. I see there's a flower bud on it. A blue sausage tree. I think it's also called the dead man's finger. The fruits are the size of a finger, blue in bunches of 5 generally. In the mid-autumn, yeah, it's like a hand with 5 blue cold fingers. A Schisandra vine variety is Sadova number 1, which is self-pollinating. I tried it 3 times, and 3rd time's a charm. This one is alive and has buds on it that are getting a bit green. This is a lime tree, I think it's called in English. The leaves are edible, it's just okay, they're tiny. This tree is dwarf, and it makes tiny leaves. It's not super interesting to eat. And I have an hibiscus here, Hibiscus syriaca, which is a common ornamental. It's barely growing. Can you believe it? This is 5 years old. It's pitiful. And this is an Allegheny pawpaw mid-season, and it's a very good variety in tastes. We'll see. I have tons of them. I don't know how they taste. It's supposed to taste kind of like Annona and mango and banana. This is a damson plum, a variety I selected myself, and this one blooms earlier, so we have damson plums basically 2 weeks earlier than the known early varieties of damson plum. This is a cherry tree that I grew from seed like 15, 20 years ago maybe. I was a kid when I planted that seed. It's somewhat early ripening. Cherries are tiny but flavorful. I've been trying to graft onto it last year, and this is an early ripening cherry. A large cherry is extremely tasty that I found basically on the side of railroads. Meshmesh Amora apricot, which is a cross of a Myrobalan plum and an apricot. Here's my cat Furin. It may have problems blooming in this climate. It's also early ripening. This is a northern serviceberry plant, and this is 4 years old. It produces, but it doesn't grow. I'm thinking of pulling it out. I put a Michurinska fig next to it. It's supposed to be the most content of all figs. Figs are tiny, but very sweet. Very, very tasty figs. Early ripening. And a Siberian pea shrub. Usually it leaves out in midwinter, but nothing this year. It bloomed several times. Never got us any beans. I'm thinking of pulling it out. Over here is a 3-leaf akebia, the variety Big Fruit, which should make fruits that are about the size of my hand. Pink purplish color. Pulp is sweet. It's nice for cooking. You can use it to make jams, and you can see it has a few leaves. It's mostly subtropical from Japan and China. The 5-leaf akebia, like this one, is a bit hardier. This is variety Alba. Now the leaves did freeze, so it doesn't have any leaves right now, but it's starting to bud out, and there are a few flowers. And over there, it's a lilac cream, another 5-leaf akebia. The top of the vine is dead. Like, that's frozen and dead. It's gonna grow back. It's fine. That's a Vesuviano biricocolo, or black apricot, also a cross of Myrobalan and apricot, like the Algerian black apricot I mentioned. My neighbors are vacuuming, so the cat is a bit curious about that noise. Here's a subtropical plant. Yes. You can see it has leaves and has grown. It didn't go dormant. That happens sometimes with subtropical plums. This one is Flavor Grenade, late ripening pluot, and this one is Dapple Supreme, mid-season. This is Dapple Dandy pluot, and it has some flower buds on it, and an Apricura, which is a cross of sand cherry and apricot. The sand cherry, it's a cross of Myrobalan plum with a sand plum, so they're kind of cheating by saying it's a sherrycot. The fruits are supposedly quite decent, but it seems like it needs a partner for pollination because people have complained that it doesn't fruit much. Apricots in cold regions, the blooms are destroyed by frost. We absolutely have to have another apricot-like tree that will bloom at the same time, like this Bercocolo here. Again, those are Meobalin crossed with apricot. It bloomed last year, we got 5 fruits, delicious. The flesh was plum-like in texture, but the flavor was absolutely apricot, like full-on apricot. Very, very good tree, more cold tolerant than apricot. It also is very disease resistant. This one is Gigante de Budrio, which is also a Bercocolo. This one is a bit more late ripening with larger fruits. Globus, a black apricot from Ukraine, like Crimea. It's covered in flower buds. We haven't had any fruits yet. Half apricot, but the fruit is basically a plum, like Russian plum that they use for the cross instead of Merobanin. And this one is an older variety from the 1940s. It's the Melitopolsky Cherny, which means black Melitopol, and the fruit actually looks like a black apricot. In terms of taste, it may be a bit more like plum. Over there, we have some Russian plums. So this is Sphyrcronaya, also early ripening plum. Sprite, variety from California. Merobalin and Asian plum cross, like the Russian plums, but this one isn't from Russia. And yeah, the Russian plums were selected to have fruits like Asian plum in colder regions. An Asian pear, Nijiseiki. It barely grows, but it blooms heavily. There's a Chojuro and Shinseiki, a European pear. You need a second tree for pollination. I used this Asian pear. We got like 40 pears off of this last year. It's a red Williams pear, red Bartlett for the Americans. A Mediterranean palm, which is the only European palm species. My mother wants palm trees, and that's going to be in front of the house. This is a purple candy pluot. It's full of small leaves. It stayed like that for the whole winter. Didn't go dormant. That's why I say those are subtropical. They have very weak dormancy, these plums. Sinop, Feijoa, pineapple guava. I think that's from northern Turkey. The area around the city of Sinop has a subtropical humid climate. One of the few around Europe. Turkey is Asia, but it's Europe in my heart. Early Crimean, Nikita aromatic. Those two come from the Nikita Botanical Garden in Crimea. I wanted 2 early varieties to pollinate each other, and they come from literally the same place. Flavor Queen Pluot has a few flower buds, and this one is Flavor Supreme Pluot, which has also flower buds. Pluaries, sweet treat. I think it's like 25% cherry, 60% Asian plum, a little bit of apricot. So it's not super cherry-like. This is a Nadia Pluary, which is actually 50% cherry and 50% plum. I'm eager to try it. And this is a Shobana Akebia. It's getting too much wind from the street, so I'm probably gonna move it. And it's a yellow-footed variety. Honey Pearls Nectacot, supposedly Nectacot. There's no pictures online. It's not very documented. I do see apricot traits in there, but it looks more like plum. And this is a Colorcot. This variety is Bella Z. I think this is like a lot of nectarine and peach, a good portion of plum, and a tiny bit of apricot. This is another of the Mediterranean subtropicals, the strawberry tree. This one fruited last year. The bigger one is actually covered in flowers right now. It bloomed the entire winter. There are fruits that are going to hang on this, and it's going to ripen in autumn or early winter. It depends on the weather and the climate. Prickly pear with one fruit, one tiny fruit, is going to be ripe in summer. But I think this is the most cold tolerant of all cactus. And the variety is called Milvash, mostly without thorns. Prickly pear is hard to grow in cold regions. This one, it was severely affected by peach leaf curl. It kept dying back. And this is all that remains, plus the growth from last year when it finally overcome the disease. That's the Callistemon petioides from the mountains of Australia, supposed to make yellow flowers. This one is a Sommer apricot. It has some flower buds on it, and this is what pollinated my Bercocolo last year. And that's my Bergeron apricot, but this one never flowered. Over there we have a Texan prickly pear, variety Elysiana, so it's mostly thornless. For an upright prickly pear, it seems decently cold tolerant. The other cactus I showed you, it does dehydrate itself to survive really cold temperatures, and please don't touch that. You're gonna have bristles in your paws, and that's gonna be annoying. That's exactly the same variety. I got 2 as a backup. And over there we have an almond tree. This is a Tuono almond, a very old Italian variety. It had a lot of dieback. This is 4 years old, and you can see it barely has anything. I believe this variety is from Texas. It is a descendant of Tuono, because Tuono is the original self-fruitful almond. It's better to have 2 trees to get better yields. And Aprium, this was sick the first year. It had brown spots on the leaves. Now it has flower buds. And over there we have an Absdon peach, which I'm gonna need to prune a bit, and I'm gonna put this Cora nectarine next to it in the same hole as a 2 variety tree. So early peach and that side, early nectarine. This is the Shalak pineapple, an Armenian apricot, which makes yellow fruit. It did okay. A Cornelian cherry. Fruits are incredibly delicious. All breeding on these species comes from Eastern Europe. For some reason in Western Europe it's been forgotten. The species is red-fruited, but this one is yellow-fruited and also very good producer. And this one, Afatu Briançon apricot, it's its own species. It comes from the Southern Alps at the border between Italy and France. Before industrialization, people made oil and jams, but now they can just buy almond oil in the store, so it's becoming rare. That's the Geopride Pluot. I pruned it back a bit to get some low branching. It branched out wonderfully. It's full of blooms, and this one is supposed to be a peach and plum cross, but leaves look like European plum. From some sources I've seen in German, it may just be a plum that has some peach characteristics, but yeah, they say it's a peach plum cross. Right. And finally, over there, we have Japanese dogwood. I've been thinking of pulling it out because it was struggling every summer. It kept having dieback. It looks super ugly. I don't want trees that I have to baby, especially stuff that is temperate. For tropical plants, sure, I can understand. For temperate plants, seriously, deal with things yourself. And one of my cats went into the neighbor's yard. I don't know how he did it. How will I recover him? Oh well. That's a problem for later me. And this is a Murban plum that I selected. It's an early fruiter, that's why I like it. And great rootstock. This is Medlar. Get Medlar, please. It's so good. It didn't fruit much last year. We got 1 fruit. The first year we got 5 fruits, and I'm hoping it's gonna fruit more. This is a Sidolus, which is a cross of apple and quince. It can be used as a rootstock for both apple and quince. Maybe it's compatible with pears. This one is called Rudenko. So Rudenko is a Ukrainian scientist, I believe. It's supposed to make good fruits. This is a dwarf Burla cherry, an early ripening cherry, and a more late ripening Harsini yellow cherry. Over there is a Granny Smith apple. Really love this variety. Fuji apple. It got severe sunburn. It's been years, but it's not recovering well. Over there we have a bunch of raspberries. There are several varieties. One of them I'm gonna pull out because it's super invasive and it barely produces anything. In the middle of them, there's these green stems, Lycisteria, which is a type of honeysuckle. I don't know what the English name is, but the berries taste like caramel. Very, very good. And this is an autumn olive, or akigumi, which means autumn gumi. It made yellow fruits. It's a variety Fortunella. We made a jam. It's very tasty, but fresh. They're not incredible. I enjoy them, but not tremendously. And look at that! A citrus! It looks a bit messy because slugs, but aside from slugs, it's doing fine. Like, this took minus 13 Celsius several times, so 8 degrees Fahrenheit, and it wasn't damaged. It did bloom last year. Maybe this year we're gonna have more blooms. We're gonna need a few more months. Only when it's warm enough do they start to bloom, generally around mid to late spring. And a 5-star Citromelo. This is sour and kind of bitter. It does well in Zone 7. It's like a year old, that's why it's looking all yellow. They kind of struggle to get established, my citrus, but afterwards they get green. It's just the first year. He's back. I don't know where he went, but he's back. This is a pear quince hybrid, or maybe a chimera. It was sold to me as like a 75% pear, 25% quince plant that makes big pears with a bit of a quince flavor that you harvest late in the season and they store for winter. But right now I've heard from the same person that it might be a chimera. Here I haven't put it in the ground yet, but this is a donut peach. I want a flat nectarine to put with it as a double tree for midsummer. Over there we have a fig, Pinot de Mel, honey drop, I think in English. It makes very sweet yellow figs. Over there we have a green gage, a golden green gage. I bought some from the store. I love them. I also added a Mirabelle plum, so we can get a side of Mirabelle plum and a side of green gage. This is a Nanking cherry. It comes from like Tibet and other areas of Central Asia, and it makes a dwarf rootstock for other stone fruits. This one died back almost entirely last year. Since it was not producing anything, I planted an early Dalmatian fig. It's an Adriatic type fig, so green in skin, red in flesh, Dobenton kale. If you can grow a tree colored, this is the same thing, except instead of growing like a tree, it crawls on the ground. It tastes amazing. Like, it has a super strong flavor and it's kind of sweet. They're really amazing plants. And this one is a Solissimo green fuzzy kiwi. It's from the subtropics of China. They have decent cold tolerance. Zone 7 is about their limit. And the Aromatnaya quince, extremely tasty. But last year we got 50 quince. I ate them like apples, which normally you don't do with quince. This is an Amphimka, a Nanking cherry, a variety from Ukraine, I think. It has larger fruits. A Snovit, white fruited variety, ripen midsummer. This is a Fuyu persimmon. Early persimmons can ripen fine and be sweet and be delicious. Late persimmons like Fuyu, unfortunately, we pick them when they're still mostly green because they don't have time to ripen. Again, the cat is somewhere he shouldn't be. He's looking for his brother and his brother is just between the fence and he's not supposed to go in there. And this is a yellow kiwi, Aero Gold. One of the only self-pollinating yellow kiwi. It's definitely more subtropical than the green kiwi. It's more of a zone 8 plant. Provianka pomegranate, supposed to be the sweetest pomegranate in the world. Definitely cold tolerant. This took -13, so 8 Fahrenheit, without any damage. No fruits yet. This is a Fleischmann pomegranate. It died to the ground at -13. Maybe not one to grow in zone 7. It grew back, and this year didn't freeze. But if it keeps dying back, I'm gonna pull it out. That's my big dependent kale. I love to come and just pick a few leaves. They're sweet, extremely delicious. There's an Alma fig. It's 25% Punjab fig, which is a tropical fig from India and Pakistan. So it has a weird leaf shape. Punjab fig isn't very cold tolerant. Again, it's a tropical fig, but this one, since it's only 25% cross, it works. Yeah, he's back at the neighbors. Oh, the second cap is in there. Oh, damn it. That's gonna be annoying. That fig made huge brown figs, the size of a big apple. It comes from my neighbors, and it has buds on it, so I think it's gonna fruit this year. Last year, there were 2 figs that started growing, but they dropped. It's probably a Brunswick fig, thanks to the mulberries for helping me figuring that out. Oh, and this is a brown turkey fig. This is a Josta berry, a cross of gooseberry with black currant. And this is a white currant, pink currant, and a very old red currant. And this one is a white currant, another variety. And some alpine strawberries. Variety is Rugen. If you're in a region where it doesn't freeze much, get some alpine strawberries. They're gonna bloom and fruit all year for you. For me, they bloom and fruit until early winter. They've been a bit outcompeted in the wild by the woodland strawberry. This one is also an alpine strawberry, but it makes white fruits. This one is Nikiski Rani pomegranate, the Nikita Early, from the Nikita Botanical Garden in Crimea. This is Idrunner X Golosha. It made 5 fruits last year, very tasty, a bit more sour than I expected, and Henonmaki Red Gooseberry. The fruits are very good, sweet and sour. They're actually less sour than they're sweet. It's a very good variety. Okay, he's coming back because he saw a cat that was someone else's and he was afraid. I don't know where the other one is. Over here we have a dwarf everbearing mulberry, a variety that was bred in Japan. It's definitely tropical. It dies back pretty heavily most years, and this one does actually produce fruit. These small branches usually don't survive the winter, only the thicker branches. It's more of a zone 8 plant. Oh, the other cat is here. He's coming back. Over there we have an autumn olive, red fruited, which is sweet and sour, the variety. Over there, this is a seed grown peach from a heirloom family variety that's always grown from seed, like a red fleshed peach. Last year it had flowers, but it didn't fruit. There's another one over here, and a final one right there. Dunstan Citramalo, that froze almost entirely. This is the rootstock. The rootstock is alive. That's dead. That's alive but damaged. And everything above is damaged but alive. And it's been like this for several years now, somehow. Marigot strawberries. This corner of the yard was basically the trash of the previous owners. They threw everything, like pieces of metal, glass, rocks, concrete, and these were barely surviving. I completely changed the soil here. I did a ton of compost and removed all the rocks, and last year they finally did well. Over here, this is galangal. It takes a bit more cold than regular ginger. It's dried up, but it survived to -5 with a bit of damage before being killed by -8. The roots are okay, so hopefully we're gonna get some ginger. Well, galangal, which is very similar. Where's your brother? Where's your brother? Tarentine myrtle, which is a bit more cold tolerant than the regular myrtle, is supposed to go to minus 12 Celsius, so 10 degrees Fahrenheit. It was not too damaged by minus 13, so it's a bit tougher than they say. It's in the guava family. It makes small, dark fruit. And this Tarentine myrtle is looking a bit rough. These leaves are completely dried. Another myrtle. This one's doing well. This is a modern citrange. This is more of a zone 8 plant. The fruit looks like an orange. It's still more sour and more bitter than a regular orange with some off flavors. But that's the closest thing to an orange we can have right now until we create new hardy citrus hybrids. Over here we have a seedling loquat, the only remaining survivor. I had like a dozen of them. It's 4 years old, if you can believe it. There are some people that grow loquats in my area, but they don't fruit because the fruits grow in winter and they're destroyed by frost. This is a saltbush, a nice vegetable. The specific species, you can find it in the western Mediterranean. They grow as far south as Mauritania, in the arid tropics of the Sahara. They're evergreen, but this one I pruned it last summer and the new growth died. The plant is alive, it's gonna grow back. A subtropical, lemon verbena, is great for making tea. It actually survived several times down to minus 13 Celsius, and it died back to here, same, here, and it grew back. And a goji berry, I've seen people in my city that actually have fruits on very neglected plants, and mine never fruited. I have another one, it peaks here. Bloomed once, didn't fruit, and never bloomed again. Tea plant for making black tea. It's a subtropical plant from India and China, and it got some damage on the lower leaves here. It got a bit of damage, but not too much. A subtropical blueberry from Florida. It has one leaf right now, but it can keep more. Other than that, it's been a healthy plant. It never fruited, but it makes pink fruits. It's a pink lemonade, I think, the variety. Over there we have a sudashi. It's used kind of like a lime in Japan. It has decent cold tolerance for citrus. It's less cold tolerant than yuzu. It can go in zone 8, but zone 7, I'm really pushing it. This one is a regular myrtle, not the Tarentine myrtle. I tried to buy a plant that they call the Argentine myrtle, which is a type of guava, and every time I bought the same plants from the same nursery, they always sent me this, and they all died except this one. This is a curry plant, Mediterranean plant that smells like curry. Very nice. What's going on? He came next to my leg and ran away. Okay. This one was sold to me as a sudashi a few years ago. And this is actually a hanayu. More cold tolerant than a sudashi, but it's not a sudashi. They lied. But this was never damaged at minus 13, so it's quite hardy. This was actually sold as a hanayu. Citrus are kind of yellow the first year. A female Tasmanian pepper. They're a subtropical family. It has some flower buds on it this year, and they make pepper berries. If you have a male plant, which I do, it doesn't bloom this year. There's no flower buds on it. This took minus 13 as well, so 8 degrees Fahrenheit. Number 3 yuzu, one of the most cold tolerant yuzu there are. And this took minus 13, no damage. And now it's very green because it's established. This is the Tokushima yuzu. It's supposed to be early ripening, which could be cool for making hybrids, because an early ripening hybrid can ripen before winter, which is important because citrus fruits don't like cold, and citrus in general don't like cold. Itching pepita, Evia 358, and this is one of the most cold tolerant citrus. It's seedless when it's not cross-pollinated, so it's great for making cold tolerant crosses with it. If you have seeds in it, you know you have a hybrid. So I'm gonna put mandarin and orange pollen on it to hopefully get something decently cold tolerant and with sweet fruits. Over here, this is a honeyberry. It's rather early ripening, like late spring. It's completely burnt as soon as summer starts. This is a chocolate persimmon. It's an astringent persimmon with brown flesh. That's why it's called chocolate. It doesn't taste like chocolate. The cat is on top of the wall. At least he's coming back. And his brother is running around trying to figure out how to climb onto the wall. But there's no way to climb onto the wall, it's too high. This guy climbed on the trees on the other side. So this is an experiment I did for citrus protection in cold weather, planting them in an evergreen plant. Here are some leaves. This is a Prague Chimera mandarin. They're actually quite cold tolerant, but the fruits ripen a bit late in early winter. Another Prague Chimera here, not from the same source. This is a Yusandarin, cross of yuzu and mandarin. It's looking okay. There's very light damage on the upper leaves. The older leaves got kind of white and dropped off, but the branches are fine. It's the only citrus that really got damaged this winter, which is unfortunate. I really wanted it to succeed. I want my sweet citrus. Over there, I have a Natsugumi, the regular summer gloomy. It's starting to grow finally after years of struggle. I didn't talk about my fuchsias, but I have a few fuchsias for fruiting. Yeah, it blooms a lot. I haven't had fruits yet. And this one's the one that does the best, despite being a Brazilian species. Like, I have Magellan fuchsia. It's supposed to be the most cold tolerant. No. Royal fuchsia is the one that suffers the least. And this one is the Zdenek Yuzu Mellow, cross of Citramelo and Yuzu. Makes a lemon. Apparently, bitterness and bad flavors are present in it, which isn't great, but is very cold tolerant. Might be useful for breeding. We got some blackberries. This one is a wet fruited blackberry, but it doesn't produce anything. It burns very easily in summer. This one doesn't burn. An ever-bearing thornless blackberry, and it never flowered. Oh, and there's a black currant. I almost forgot. There's a black currant in there. A Maori pepper, which is from New Zealand, a cousin of the Tasmanian pepper. And again, I said it's a subtropical family. That's because most plants in this family grow in the subtropics of South America and Australia. This one is from the temperate areas of New Zealand. Tasmanian pepper is definitely a bit hardier, but this has done okay, so I'm going to put it in the ground. Guavas! Because again, subtropical plants are fun. This is a dwarf Petrea. It's been mostly killed back last year when we got minus 13 Celsius, so 8 Fahrenheit. I call it a dwarf Petrea because Petrea is an orange-fruited guava relative of Chile, and this is a very closely related species, but it's a smaller plant with smaller fruits. This one, it didn't get damaged. It did bloom. There was one fruit on it, and I think it dropped. I can't say how the fruits are. I don't know what size they are when they're fully ripe. I just know they're orange in color. And this one is creeping guava. It's found in the Falklands, the southern Andes, and the southernmost areas of South America. And it makes a small berry, about blueberry-sized, kind of pink-white in early winter. Very sweet, with a strong guava flavor. A late ripening fruit that doesn't care about cold is rather nice. I often say I have plants from all continents. I have some Society garlic here. Yeah, it survived. So that's a truly African plant from South Africa, surviving in Zone 7B. And it's edible. It's very tasty, by the way. Subtropical blueberry from the Azores. It doesn't like the frost here. I have another one right there. You can see it's a bit burnt. It's more of a Zone 8 plant, and this was a mild winter. I don't know how it's gonna go in the following years. That was my video, and the cats are back. So I think I'm gonna go inside and, I don't know, play Mario Kart or something. I just want to enjoy time with my cats. I think there's a lot of stuff to share. And all the weird plants that I'm discovering stuff about. It's always fun to experiment. I love experimenting. Okay, enough babble. Sorry, I'm autistic. Goodbye.